Welcome to KCRV's presentation of Out and About. I'm John Thomas alongside J.E. Cornwell and Brandon Gaul, and we are where the magic happens. This is the office to end all offices. You'll find yourself in here if you are an employee or a 1099 contractor and you haven't been doing things right, or you've made it all the way through the process of checking out an RV or one of our motorsports outside, and you're going to come in here and you're going to talk about finance, getting some paperwork done with J.E., and this is where the magic happens. It's a cooler day. What is it? It's still August, correct?
Yes.
It's a little bit cooler, and that kind of brings us around to the fall, which I think you guys were talking before we got in here and got things rolling. It's almost football season, right? Now you guys are
right
both,
there, baby.
You're both season ticket holders, is that right?
Indeed.
Got our boys together still, so.
You're one of the lucky 22% that are going to be chosen to go out to the stadium this fall.
Yeah,
We hope so. Yes, yes.
But I think you have to go through a spanking machine or something at 4 p.m. today before you actually get tickets or permission
Thank
to
you,
go.
sir. May I have another?
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes.
I guess you do have to go through a few hoops to get some tickets to the football game, though, right?
Yeah, it's tough. If you're a season ticket member, you have gotten an update every couple of days from the Chiefs telling you that you're going to have a date and a time that you have to check in with your app, your phone app, and you can reserve up to 6 seats this year for what they're calling their pods. And they'll allow you to go out and do a little tailgating as well. But you got to stick right to your car. You can't take up 4 spaces like
Not the traditional
all of our
tailgating
friends do.
that we
but-
all love.
Yeah,
Sure.
but yeah,
The
we're
high
looking
fives,
forward
shakes,
to it.
hands, hugs, you
What-
know.
Yeah. Well, it looks like, we had the COVID, obviously. That's why we're going down to 22% of the stadium capacity. Are you guys confident we're going to have a season this year?
I feel confident. I think we can have it. It just depends on the other teams, too. I mean,
Yeah, well.
it's like anything else. If they get sick, they can't play.
Yeah.
So we may have some interruptions, pauses. We'll see how it goes. Hey, anything's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. I agree.
Any kind of
That's what ESPN's saying too.
anything. Yeah. I mean, we can watch bowling. We can watch anything we want. It's sports, right? It's
Yeah.
better than nothing.
As long as we don't have to participate and get sweaty, I'm
Yeah.
for it. Well, cool. Glad we got to actually bring another guest in and talk with us today. Brandon Gaul, tell us what it is that you do, how you came to be a part of what JE's operation is here, and just give us a little bit background.
Yeah, I own an agency here, Dealers Financial Consultants here locally in Kansas City. It's a 20-year-old agency, and met J.E. Through the years. He's been a local here for longer than I've been in the business, and we've just worked well together. He's done a good job with what I've offered to him, and I think I've potentially worked with him well. It's a partnership, what we do, because the idea is taking care of the customers after they buy a product from him. I mean, when us putting us together, the financing and what happens, if you do break down or your AC stops working and a 95-degree day out in the woods, makes a difference. Well, by his help, he helps finance my products on these units in order to take care of the customer when they're not here. So
Sure. J.E., talk to us a little bit about the process. Somebody comes out to the lot, they find something they really like. They're asking a little bit about warranties. Something a certain age isn't going to get warranties. Help us understand warranties and what people are covered with and how that works once somebody's picked out the perfect item.
Sure. So very much like the auto industry, of course, is well known for their bumper-to-bumper warranty coverages when you buy a new car. In the rec world, certainly in the RV industry, it's a little different. They have, you've got your new and you've got your used. The majority of your major manufacturers on the RV side, they will warrant their structure. A structure on an RV can consist of the frame, the flooring, the sidewalls, and the ceiling. They will, of course, have contracts with different companies that they'll get, AC units, refrigerators, heaters, and the roof. The roof is also a company that they will bring in and they will assemble at their plant. But that manufacturer only covers that part of the camper. Now, all of those components, those major components that come in that RV, have some type of warranty with them. It just depends on what it is. Say a microwave or maybe a slide motor has, 30 to 90 days on it. The majority of the AC units, they run approximately a year on most of the AC units on new. What we do here on our new items, we've got a couple of independents. They don't do 3 years, they do 2 years. One of the specifications of doing an extended coverage or buying extra protection for your camper is it has to have some type of manufacturer's coverage. That the companies that Brandon represents, I mean, that's part of it. But it just depends on the manufacturer what the warranty comes with. What we do when we have a used or a new unit that we sell, whatever that may be, if it's got its own full coverage, there are still some campers that are out there that have more coverage than others. Just depends on it. The used, we try if we can to stay within that used model year of, say, that 3-year manufacturer structure, because that warranty, that extra protection that they're going to buy is going to be a whole lot less if they buy it, let's say, within that 3 years of that model year. But with warranties, they're needed. I've been in this conversation 1,000 times when I am sitting in front of somebody and I'm trying to have this conversation and tell them about what the warranty that they're getting with that camper and what is available. And you will have people that will not even get in a vehicle without any coverage. And then you've got somebody who's like, oh no, I don't believe in warranties. I've never ever used one. I've had them on stuff, I've never used them. And I simply say, okay, well, you've never had an RV. You've certainly never had this RV. I mean, because as he alluded to, AC units on these things, not because they're bad, but think about what an RV is and what it does. It is a recreational vehicle for camping and vacation trips. So an individual or a family may only use that camper 10 or 12 times in a year. And a compressor that sits unused is more damaging sometimes than, so they get it in first thing in the spring and they de-winterize it and they get it out there, and then it's a hot day and they crank that thing on and it freezes and it breaks down. And, now it depends on, what the camper is, but they're going to need a warranty protection. I try to tell them that as much as I can, not because they're buying something that is a bad product, but just because that's part of the deal. They're not buying a car. They're not buying a refrigerator or a TV, where this is going to be an RV, and it's a high percentage that something is going to break and they need to get it fixed. And it doesn't matter. Time is not their best friend on it, like a car. Car manufacturers give 36 months, 36,000 miles for a reason. Because after that time, things start breaking down. It's an insurance, it's a numbers game, so that's why. But as far as warranties go, I mean, I think every RV that we sell here, we offer a warranty on. And we do that to protect the customer. We do that to protect the dealership. We do that to protect the service industry as well, the people that are repairing these things.
So, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And here's the thing is, a lot of people think, in the car business, I'm going to walk into this office and I'm going to get sold 14 things that I don't need, right? We have nothing to sell in here. These products are not something that need to be sold to somebody. It's giving them, we're trying to help them. Give them their options. Here's your options. If you feel like you really don't need it, great. But the likelihood of claims that we see come through make more sense if you're going to keep it for a while, what have you. And there's a lot of things that even when you buy a brand new one, the factories a lot of times, and this doesn't go for every factory, but I know of some where, they'll have coverage for the unit, but only for a limited period of time, like J.E. said. But here's the other thing you got to consider is if you're set up, leveled out, slid out, everything, fireplace is going, whatever the case, or you're in the heat. Let's say you're in the heat in the summer. Your AC unit goes out. Well, what do? Well, I guess you could pack it up, put all your slide outs in, load it up, try to find a repair facility somewhere, depending, I don't know where you're camping, but usually campsites are outside city limits. And from there, what do? Well, by having a service contract out there, the manufacturer may cover the part, but do they cover the person to come out and fix it? The fee to get them there. The other thing is a lot of times in the summer, everybody wants their units fixed, and you've got backups for 2-3 weeks. Well, if I'm leveled out and I'm camping, I don't have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get my AC unit fixed. I could have a mobile mechanic come to me. That's why you buy a service contract, for the convenience. It's no different than tire and wheel. I don't want to skip to other products, but all you got to do is ask yourself one question. If I'm in Timbuktu and I have a flat on my RV tire and I'm on a highway that goes like this, do I want to go out and jack that travel trailer up and put on my own tire? How unsafe is that? We can come do it for you. Not only will we come do it for you, we'll make sure you're in a safe place. All the products you buy, the first thing they're going to ever ask if you have roadside assistance, which they all do, is, are you in a safe place? That's the most, our concern is, how do we take care of the customer when they're not at the dealership? That's the most important thing.
That's well said.
Yeah, and they'll always come back to that delership that sold them that product, actually offered them that product. You don't have to buy it, but the reality is, this is why you buy it and how you can get your money's worth out of it throughout the life of the term. So,
well, you kind of mentioned going to purchase something, you get the feeling like somebody's going to try to ram right a whole bunch
That's
of products
not what it's
at
all
you.
about. We're too professional for that nowadays.
So how many products specifically, how are you going to help a customer when they come into KCRVs? What are you going to provide them here when you're sitting down with JE?
Well, you mean if something breaks?
Yeah, well, what products exactly are we looking at?
Okay, well, basically, you've got the service contracts. And by the way, all of these products, here's another thing that people don't understand is, if I have offered you a piece of paper and told you I would do this for $1,000 or $500 or $2,000, whatever the case might be, how good is that piece of paper 5 years from now or 3 years from now when I need to use it? Well, there are companies out there that have disappeared. Mm-hmm. What's really important is the customer, and I don't know, most people don't understand to ask, but are these products insured? Do they have an insurance company that backs them? So if they shut the doors, do they have an insurance company they can call in order to still get, that will uphold the terms of the policy? Every product here is fully insured and backed by an A+ rated carrier. So that's, you feel better about giving that to a customer because you know the protection's there for good. Service contracts, they cover pretty much, Diamond is what's called an exclusionary coverage. That's all he sells, is the Diamond coverage. Basically, that gives you exclusionary coverage, which means everything is covered on the unit except for a list of items that aren't. Usually those items are maintenance and things that would be covered by your insurance company, besides all the roadside assistance that comes with it. Roadside assistance 24 hours a day, make sure you're in a safe place, come out, change your flat tire. If you're in a motorhome, deliver fuel, jump start, what have you. That all comes with the policy.
And on the roadside, I'll jump in on that because one of the big things is the roadside policy on that Diamond coverage. It comes with a tow reimbursement. Most people don't give that much thought on their insurance policy because most people have an auto insurance policy. Most auto insurance policies will max out at $200-300 at a tow reimbursement. Well, if you're going to get a RV towed, it's going to be a flatbed and a wrecker. And with our policy, they'll pay up to $1,000 for that tow reimbursement, and you're going to spend just about all of it, and that's big.
And most policies will only cover up to maybe $500.
Yep, absolutely.
This is new for us in the last year. We moved that up to $1,000. So, tire and wheel coverage is, I think that's very important as well, because basically what happens is, in the event that you do have that flat tire while you're out traveling, or you damage a rim, Once again, we're going to make sure you're in a safe place. Not only that, we're going to come out and we're going to replace the tire or repair it, or replace the wheel or repair it. Whatever needs to be done. As many times as it needs to be done throughout the life of the contract.
And both of those insurance products are important to us here at our store as they are to most dealers. I specialize in the warranties in the tire and wheel. Tire and wheel, me personally, I've blown tires and wheels on trailers. I think anybody that's pulled a trailer for any kind of time has experienced a blown tire on a trailer. The tire and wheel coverage that we offer through Brandon's company, through IAS, one of the main features of that tire and wheel coverage, as he just alluded to, it's going to cover that tire, that wheel in case of an incident that happens due to road hazards. But the main reason I like it is because that same damage on a pull vehicle, the truck, the Jeep, the Tundra, whatever it is that's pulling that, those tires and wheels are also protected for that same road hazard issue. So because the displacement of balance on a truck, certainly to the back tires, when you put a trailer on there, certainly something of weight on a pull vehicle, it really will, if you're into a pothole, it'll take those tires and it'll slam them into a pothole on a truck. And it happens a lot.
Yes,
I mean, I don't know the exact numbers on the auto versus or the pull vehicle versus the trailer, but I've made a couple claims just this year for that. And that's one of the benefits of having a tire and wheel coverage for your camper and your pull vehicle.
So basically, when somebody comes in and says, hey, look, I don't think I can afford that, wouldn't the response be, how could you afford not to have it?
Indeed.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, and that's where you have to weigh out the coverage, and sometimes you have to do a little math with them or ask them if they've ever, here's what you're paying for it. What is it worth to you in the event that you, your wife, your kids, whatever, are sitting in the truck on the side of the road with your camper, a flat tire, because it kind of got off the side of the road or hit a pothole or whatever in the middle of nowhere, and you want to be on vacation, not fixing a tire. Wouldn't it be nice to pick up the phone, call an 800 number, and wait for them to arrive, fix your unit there, and keep on rolling?
And that's kind of my biggest hang
Yeah,
up.
because you took time off for work,
Yeah.
right? So if you got 7 days, that's all you get. You don't want to spend 3 of them at the shop.
Well, and I hate math. I hate details, and
Yeah.
I hate reading. So you're
That's
saying
the trick. We try, yes.
So you're saying there's a 10-digit number that I can just call,
That's that
and
easy.
somebody's going to take care
Matter
of
of fact, JE will have you program it in your phone when you buy the product, so it's already there. You don't even have to go find your brochure or your paperwork. It's already
it.
there.
And Jay will personally service flat tires, is what you're telling me.
I don't know about that. He'll get the. I bet he knows people that can though.
I do. Yeah, I'll get out there and crank up a tire if I need to.
But to keep moving and not sacrifice precious time with your family and taking off work is priceless as far as I'm concerned. So another big one is the gap. Depending on how much money you put down, JE can help determine whether you would need gap or not. But it would pay the difference between what you owe on the unit and what your insurance company paid in the event that it was totaled. Insurance companies have figured this out. Auto dealers, RV, marine, sport, sell gap. So they have decided that they are going to truly stick to their coverages, and it's going to be whatever it might be, actual cash value. It might be if you totaled your unit, and let's say it's worth $30,000 in a book in print auction. That's what the insurance company is going to pay for it. You got a 180-month loan. You might owe 40 or 50, 10,000 out. That's where Gap steps in and takes over. Now, what we got to think is, what are the chances of this thing getting totaled? Well, I'm pulling a house around with me. I'm parking it under huge trees. It's summertime. There's thunderstorms. I'd pull it down the highway. These things happen. And in the event that it did, we would take that gap in the event that you had one and pay for it.
Because I'm
Sandy.
a rookie and I don't understand all things, and I've always entrusted whatever a doctor says to the doctor. I just let him deal with it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with insurance. You know, whatever
Yeah.
you guys say, I don't know. I just kind of trust you because it's scary. I thought Gap was a clothing store that I couldn't afford back in high school. So I guess my poor question from a poorly educated insurance person is it going to differentiate much from a small 17-foot trailer that I'm going to buy compared to the spacecraft we got sitting out?
You mean price-wise?
cost
No,
of
Gap is determined based upon the loan.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do with the unit. It's sold based upon the loan.
So it's a guaranteed asset protection is the acronym for GAP. But in fact, the gap is the difference between what your insurance company and what Brandon was also saying too. That number, obviously, it depends too on an insurance company, but that claim, I mean, that claim is based on a lot of things, very much like our NADA value report to a bank for a loan to value. An insurance claims adjuster is going to use that. He's also going to use some potential auction bids. He's going to use, they have tools in which to make that claim, but that gap may not just be because of the depreciation of that RV. That gap could be caused because that individual was able to put his sales tax on that recreational loan. He was able to add some products onto that loan, or he had a trade-in for that particular unit and that had a little extra carry on it than what was going to be offered. Well, that carry was then put onto the new loan. So now he's got a little heavier loan than what that value is, not just because it depreciated, but you know, everything depreciates. But the difference would be if he bought it in that first year, something horrific happens. Obviously, we don't want that for any of our customers, but we certainly want that protection for them when it does happen, because nothing worse than having a, you know, $400 payment, especially in the winter, that you got to pay and you don't have the RV and you're still making that payment.
What are some of the common things that people are going to be putting claims on or needing insurance and coverage for?
Go for it. I mean, when it comes to service contracts,
Hey, you pick
whatever,
one.
anything that you want to think of that breaks. I mean, you have a computer in these travel trailers that have to communicate with all the electrical, fuel, gas, plumbing, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Those are very expensive in order to coordinate all, you know, you have outlets next to your bed. Well, that doesn't just, you don't throw wires in there. It's beyond me, but those are reasons why you buy a service contract. One day you come in to turn the lights on and they don't work, or the AC stops working, or, you know.
That's right. And that's certainly an objection we get is guys like,
AC is a big one.
I'm pretty talented. I know
Oh, yeah.
my way around it. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you seen these new AC units that they're putting in these things? You've worked on one of those? Well, I got a job that I can use you at then, but that's an objection. But I would say, to answer your part of that question, is there are multiple things that can go wrong on any RV, any camper. But I would say the most claims that we see are going to be AC units, because it's part of that lifestyle. That lifestyle is done in the summer months, right? Now we are getting a lot of the lifestyle people that buy the all-season RVs and campers, and we are seeing more and more of those. So there is some heaters and things that go wrong in the wintertime, or people are using them. But I would say the number one claim would have to be the AC units.
Yeah, here's another big claim we have, and some companies cover it, some don't. With JE's company, they do, is your slide out seals. Those do go bad over time. And having those covered, and if you ever just look at your slide out on a unit and see what's going on while it's going out and all the moving parts, I mean, eventually it could run over its own tongue. You never know, because you're going to drive these things down the road, and they're bouncing.
Yeah.
This is not typical, you know, and it's not. They're not built to break or anything. They're great units, but they're going to need, you know, they're going to need attention at some point, you know. And that's why these are out there. And the fact is once again, it just goes back to, if I'm going to use this for vacation purposes and leisure purposes, I don't want to mess around with having to fix it. I'd rather just call somebody, have them come take care of it for me. I don't want to waste time with it. Yeah. I'll go take a hike in the woods or something while the guy, works on the AC, whatever.
So these are options for buyers that can protect themselves, keep themselves at least on the road, keep moving with their vacation in case something happens. Are there any situations in which somebody, I wouldn't say doesn't qualify, or is there any reason someone doesn't need the coverage, or is there a particular year or make or model of RV or power sport that isn't eligible for these types of coverages?
That's a great question. So I'll field that to begin with. So on the warranties, absolutely. We had that open road here, right? It was here a few weeks ago, and older model. The price point does become a factor, right? Because if it's going to cost more to put a warranty on it than the actual value of the unit, and it does actually become a financial issue. Certainly, there is an age limit, with Brandon's company, certainly with Revelo's, if we get into a model that doesn't show up based on the VIN or whatever reason, it cannot be warranted. We found some specialty items with some campers. They're costly, but for the most part, it has to make sense for the customer. The other would be the gap. Gap does not make sense. In fact, with a lot of our lenders, they use anywhere from 60 to 80% of loan to value. So if you've got that kind of equity already in your RV or your trailer, there is no sense on gap. I wouldn't sell that to a customer because, in fact, there is no gap. Even with a depreciation value, his either investment or his trade-in into that deal, he has already paid that gap, basically. So you wouldn't want to sell that product to him either.
I'm glad there's guys like you that actually know this stuff, because after this interview, I'm ready to go take a nap and maybe a shower or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm glad somebody specializes in this and can share the information.
I can't explain enough that when you buy one of these service contracts or you buy Gap or whatever, that you do read. You do sit down and do the boring job of reading the contract. We're going to be upfront and honest with you, but some things sometimes are oversold and undelivered. But it's like anything else. I try to explain to people too. It's like health insurance or anything else. You have health insurance, you go in, you may have a copay. Most of these are going to carry, I think, a $50 to $100 deductible. And usually that's all the customer walks out after paying. But if it was a maintenance item, something might have needed to be maintenance that they hadn't done, well, that may not cover it under the service contract. It's clearly spelled out in the service contract, which is so important just to read it. And I know it's boring, but the best thing to know is in these situations, you are not near a repair facility when these things go wrong. So to know this is important for you. And you've got the dealer to support you. Pick up the phone, call the dealer. Call J.E.
And J.E. will pick up the phone after midnight and will come personally change any messed up
There you go. Oh, yeah.
I then will send him over to Brandon.
Yeah,
Here's
exactly.
Brandon's number.
And I will. He's going to call me. So.
I will. I've had customers that I literally just have them put my cell phone number on their service contract. Yeah. Okay, because that's fine. I don't mind to get called. I offer these products because I believe in them and I use them. So
well, and I can testify that there's a reason why myself. Yeah. Let's see. I know 1, 2, 3, 4 other RV dealers in this town that also has Brandon on their contact list and sell his products in their store. There's something there because it's great to have that support from the insurance company, certainly your rep, and he does get involved. He gets involved with my customers if I need be. He's right there with information that I don't know or didn't have, and he does supply that. The other benefit to having good products is because on any finance deal, we have an opportunity to add these to the loan. Any of these products, the Tire and Wheel, the Gap, any of these products that we feel that will help the customer down the road, the lender does their due diligence. They won't let you put on just a fly-by-night. It has to be backed by an insurance company of standing. And that being said, the banks will allow it. They consider it collateral protection. They're collateral, in fact. So if they put a warranty on a camper and they want to add it to the loan, there's certain, stipulations that it can't be a high price deal. They'll give you limits on that. But most of the lenders that we work with will take all of these products and happily put them on that loan, knowing that there is some protection on the collateral that they have with this guy's name on it.
Man, I learned way too much today.
Good.
I am going to have to take a hot shower
That's
after
good.
this.
That's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we want people to know what they're buying.
Absolutely.
It's so important because it's not any good if they don't use it. It's just not any good if they don't use it, or they forget they even have it. I mean, it happens. You got to remember you got it and use it. And we're here to support that 110%. So
Fantastic. Brandon, curious if there's people out there that need somebody to come help them offer these types of products, how can they get a hold of you?
you can take a picture of my business card.
All right, we can do that. We'll post that. We can do that in post editing.
No, it's Dealers Financial Consultants.
Okay.
You want my phone number too?
Hell, throw it out.
Well, let's rock and roll. I don't know how many people this is going to, so let's do it.
Just us.
816-215-8595.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thanks for joining us today. J.E.,
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem.
It's
Do
fun.
you have anything additional that you want to throw into this conversation?
I'm good. I love the fact that we have the opportunity to get guys like Brandon sit in with us on this little program, because it's a part of this business that is important, and good questions, great answers. I'm glad you were here, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's a relationship business. We don't do it without each other. I mean, that's just how it works. And I've been doing this long enough. It's important to me who I do business with.
Sure.
It's not that I need the
Absolutely.
business, it's who I do business with. So, and like I said, things are oversold and underdelivered. I know that JE doesn't do that, so we don't have those issues with the customers and why is this not covered, why is that? So, yeah, thanks, JE. Appreciate it.
Well, I always like having relationships
That's
with
important.
season ticket holders for the Chiefs, especially
That's
the year
important. That's
after
very
they
important
win the
too.
Super Bowl.
Repeat.
So I wish you guys luck today on the
Yes.
spanking machine.
Appreciate
to
it.
get your tickets
Yes.
accepted. And I guess with that, if you guys don't have anything else, we're going to go ahead and sign off. So from the KCRV lot, this has been Out and About. I'm John Thomas. For J.E. Cornwell and Brandon Gaul. I couldn't remember if it was Call or Gaul.
Oh, it's okay. It's been said a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. You know what? The fact that the attempt was made. So,
Well, for both of these guys, we'll say farewell and we'll see y'all when we're out and about.
thanks.